He humiliated me over a $450 dress in the middle of a crowded mall. I thought that was the most embarrassing moment of my life. I didn't know it was the moment my future husband decided to step in. And I definitely didn't know that marrying the billionaire who saved me would become the most dangerous decision I ever made. The mall was packed that Saturday afternoon. Shoppers moved through the bright halls of Westfield in Dallas, laughing, carrying bags, living their normal lives. No one knew they were about to witness something that would follow me for the rest of my life. I was standing inside Nordstrom holding a dress I wasn't sure I should buy. The price tag read $450. I could afford it now. I had a good job, a stable life. But deep down, I still felt like the girl who used to count every dollar. Then I heard a voice I prayed I would never hear again. "Alicia, is that really you?" My blood ran cold. 5 years. 5 years since I left him. 5 years of trying to forget the man who made me feel small, ugly, and worthless. And there he was, smiling, ready to remind me of who I used to be. I didn't know that before that day ended. My ex would be escorted out in humiliation, and I would walk out of that mall on the arm of a billionaire. But what I didn't understand then was that power doesn't always mean protection. Sometimes it means control, and sometimes the man who saves you in public becomes the man you fear in private. 6 months before that moment in the mall, Alicia Washington was a different person. She was tired, exhausted really. She'd been working double shifts at the hospital where she was a nurse for the past 8 months, ever since her mother had gotten sick. Her mother's medical bills were astronomical. Insurance only covered so much. The rest came from Alicia's paycheck, which meant she was constantly stretched thin, constantly stressed, constantly running on fumes. She lived in a small apartment in South Dallas. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, old appliances that made strange noises. She decorated it as best she could with things from thrift stores and clearance sections, but no amount of decoration could make it feel like home. It just felt like the place where she collapsed at the end of every shift. Alicia was 32 years old. She was pretty, objectively pretty, with dark skin that glowed when she took care of herself, dark eyes that could be warm or distant depending on her mood, and thick natural hair that she wore in various styles depending on how much time she had. But she didn't feel pretty. She felt tired. She felt used up. She felt like the kind of woman who would always be alone because she was always too busy taking care of everyone else to take care of herself. Her relationship history was a disaster. There had been DeAndre, who she'd wasted 5 years on. He cheated, lied, and made her feel small every single day until one day she'd finally had enough and left. Before DeAndre, there had been others. Men who didn't appreciate her. Men who used her. Men who made her feel like she should be grateful for their attention. The truth was, Alicia had come to believe that love wasn't for her. That good things didn't happen to women like her. That she was meant to work hard, struggle, take care of her family, and never really get to have anything for herself. So on the day she met Ethan Calloway, she wasn't looking for love. She was just looking for a moment of peace. She was at a coffee shop near the hospital during a break between shifts. She was wearing her nurse scrubs, her hair pulled back, no makeup because she hadn't had time. She ordered a simple coffee and sat in the corner, trying to remember what it felt like to not be stressed about something. That's when he walked in. He was tall, like impossibly tall, 6'4", maybe 6'5". He had dark skin, sharp cheekbones, and eyes that seemed to catalog everything they saw. He wore an expensive suit and carried himself like someone used to having power. When he ordered his coffee, the barista actually seemed nervous. He was beautiful, not in a soft way, but in a hard way, like someone who'd been through things and come out stronger on the other side. Alicia tried not to stare. She was good at that, invisible. She'd spent her whole life being invisible to men like him, men with money, men with options, men who wouldn't look twice at a tired nurse in scrubs. But then he looked at her. His dark eyes found hers across the coffee shop, and for a moment they just looked at each other. Alicia felt something she hadn't felt in years, a flutter in her chest, a spark of something that felt like hope. Then he smiled, and he walked over to her table. "Can I sit?" he asked. His voice was smooth, deep, like listening to jazz on a Friday night. Alicia nodded, not trusting her voice. "I'm Ethan," he said, sitting down across from her. "Alicia," she replied. "What do you do, Alicia?" he asked. She told him. She told him about being a nurse, about her mother, about the long shifts in the small apartment and the way she felt like she was barely keeping her head above water. And instead of looking bored or sympathetic in that pitying way, Ethan listened. He asked real questions. He seemed genuinely interested in her answers. He told her about his business, not in a bragging way, but just matter of fact. He owned commercial real estate, shopping centers, office buildings, apartment complexes. He'd built his company from nothing. They talked for an hour. When Alicia realized she was going to be late for her shift, she panicked. "I have to go," she said, standing up quickly. "Wait," Ethan said. He pulled out his phone. "Can I have your number? I'd like to take you to dinner." Alicia hesitated. Every instinct told her this was wrong. This man was too good-looking, too successful, too interested in her. Men like this didn't date women like her. This was some kind of game. But another part of her, a part she'd buried years ago, wanted to believe that maybe, just maybe, she deserved something good. She gave him her number. He called her that night. They went to dinner the next evening, and the date was perfect. He took her to a nice restaurant. He ordered wine. He asked her about her dreams. He listened to her talk about how she'd always wanted to travel, to maybe go back to school, to do more with her life than just survive. And then he kissed her, softly, sweetly, like she was something precious. Alicia melted. Over the next few months, Ethan became her escape. After every hard shift, knowing she could see him made it bearable. He took her on trips. He introduced her to a world she didn't know existed, private restaurants, art galleries, luxury hotels. He told her she was beautiful. He told her she was smart. He told her she deserved better than the life she was living. And slowly, Alicia started to believe him. 3 months into dating, he told her he loved her. She said it back immediately. 3 months after that, he proposed. He got down on one knee at the top of the observation deck of a building he owned. The whole city of Dallas spread out below them. He put a diamond on her finger that probably cost more than her house. He told her he wanted to spend the rest of his life making sure she never had to struggle again. She said yes without hesitation. Now they were married. They lived in his penthouse in downtown Dallas. He'd hired the best doctor for her mother. Her medical bills were gone. Alicia had quit her job to focus on adjusting to her new life. She had everything she'd ever dreamed of. So why did she feel like she was living a lie? The penthouse was beautiful. Floor-to-ceiling windows that showed the entire Dallas skyline. Modern furniture. Art on the walls that probably cost more than Alicia's old apartment. A closet full of designer clothes that Ethan had bought for her. Everything she could possibly want. Except for the truth. Because there were things about Ethan that didn't add up. Little things, strange things. The way he knew things about people before she'd told him. The way his phone would ring late at night, and he'd take the call in his study with the door locked. The way certain people seemed nervous around him. The way he kept a safe in his office that he never opened when she was around. And there was the bigger thing. The thing that had started to really bother her. She didn't really know him. They'd been married for 3 months, and Alicia realized she didn't know where he'd grown up. She didn't know about his family. She didn't know anything about his past before he'd become successful. She tried asking, but he always changed the subject. He'd kiss her and tell her the past didn't matter, that all that mattered was their future together. It should have been a red flag. Alicia was smart enough to know that, but she was also desperate enough not to care. Her mother was recovering beautifully with the best medical care. Alicia had time to actually rest for the first time in years. She was sleeping past 5 in the morning. She was eating real meals instead of whatever she could grab on the run. She was finally, for the first time in her life, taking care of herself. How could she question that? But then the text message came. Alicia was in the penthouse alone. Ethan was at work. She'd been arranging flowers in a vase, something she never would have had time to do before. Her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. It was from an unknown number. The message read, "Tell your husband we're ready to make the exchange. Same location as before, midnight tonight." Alicia stared at the message. It was clearly meant for someone else, some kind of mistake. She almost deleted it. But instead, she took a screenshot. When Ethan came home that evening, he found her sitting on the couch waiting for him. She knew she shouldn't have said anything. She knew the smart thing would have been to pretend she'd never seen the message, but Alicia had never been good at playing games. "Someone sent me a text," she said. "I think it was meant for you." She showed him the message. Ethan's entire body went still. For a moment, just for a moment, she saw something dangerous flash across his face, something that reminded her that she really didn't know this man at all. Then his expression softened. "It's nothing," he said, "just business." "Business?" Alicia repeated. "At midnight an exchange. Ethan, what does that mean?" He sat down beside her. He took her hand. "I can't tell you," he said. "It's not that I don't want to, it's that I can't. For your own safety, the less you know, the better. Can you trust me on that?" And there it was again, the red flag, the warning sign that she should pay attention to. But Ethan squeezed her hand and he looked at her with those dark eyes and he told her he loved her. He told her she was safe with him. He told her to stop worrying. Alicia wanted to believe him so badly that she did. She didn't ask about the text message again. She didn't ask about the late-night phone calls. She didn't ask about the safe or the strange visitors who sometimes came to his office. She just ignored it all and tried to enjoy the beautiful life she'd been given. Because that's what she'd learned to do. That's what women like her did. They ignored the problems. They accepted what they were told. They smiled and looked pretty and didn't ask too many questions. And most of the time, it worked out fine. Most of the time. 2 weeks after the text message incident, Alicia's mother was having a good day. She'd been discharged from the hospital and was staying with Alicia and Ethan in one of the guest suites in the penthouse. She was recovering beautifully. The doctors said she'd make a full recovery. Her mother's name was Diane and she was a strong woman. She'd raised Alicia alone after Alicia's father had passed away when Alicia was 5. She'd worked hard. She'd sacrificed everything. She was the reason Alicia had turned out to be someone who cared about others, who worked hard, who tried to do the right thing. And Diane was not blind. "Something's wrong," Diane said to Alicia while they were having lunch on the balcony of the penthouse. Ethan was at work. It was just the two of them. "Nothing's wrong," Alicia said automatically. "Baby, I've known you your whole life," Diane said. "I know you're something's bothering you. Is it Ethan?" Alicia wanted to deny it, but her mother was looking at her with those eyes that saw everything. "I don't really know him," Alicia admitted. "That's what's wrong. I'm married to him, but I don't know anything about him. And when I ask questions, he shuts down. And there's weird stuff. Late-night phone calls, text messages. I think he might be involved in something illegal." Diane was quiet for a long time. "Then why did you marry him?" she asked finally. Alicia felt her eyes fill with tears. "Because I was tired," she said. "I was so tired, Mom. I was tired of struggling. I was tired of being alone. I was tired of feeling like I would never have anything. And he came along and he said he could take care of me. And I wanted to believe that so badly that I didn't ask the questions I should have asked." Diane reached over and squeezed her daughter's hand. "Listen to me," she said. "I love that he helped us. I love that I'm getting better. I'm grateful for that. But you can't stay with a man just because he's taking care of your bills. That's not love. That's a transaction. And transactions always have a price." That night, Alicia decided to do something she should have done weeks ago. She decided to investigate. She waited until Ethan was sleeping and then she went into his office. She tried the safe. It was locked as expected, but she did find something else. In a drawer under some papers, she found a folder. Inside the folder were photographs. Photographs of Ethan with dangerous-looking men. photographs of what appeared to be weapons, photographs of something that looked like drugs. There were also legal documents, court records. Her husband had a criminal record. He'd been arrested twice, once for drug trafficking and once for assault. The charges had been dropped both times, but still. Alicia felt like the ground was shifting beneath her feet. This wasn't a successful businessman who was just a little mysterious. This was someone involved in organized crime. This was someone dangerous. This was someone she'd made a huge mistake marrying. If you're watching this right now, you need to pause and think about this situation. Alicia made a classic mistake that so many people make. She saw red flags and ignored them because the person was offering her something she desperately needed, security and stability. But security built on lies is never really secure. It's always going to collapse. If you're in a situation like Alicia's, where you're in a relationship with someone you don't fully trust, I want you to know that you deserve better. You deserve someone who is honest with you. You deserve someone you can trust completely. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell because what happens next is going to shock you. She closed the folder. She put it back exactly where she'd found it. And she went back to bed and lay next to her husband and pretended to sleep while her mind raced. The next morning, everything changed again. She was in the kitchen making breakfast when her phone rang. It was a number she didn't recognize. "Hello," she answered cautiously. "Is this Alicia Calloway?" a male voice asked. "Yes. This is Detective James Harrison with the Dallas Police Department. I need to ask you some questions about your husband, Ethan Calloway. Can you come down to the station today?" Alicia's heart felt like it had stopped. "What's this about?" she asked. "I'd prefer to discuss that in person, ma'am. Can you be here at 2 o'clock? She agreed, hung up, and sat down on the kitchen counter because her legs didn't feel strong enough to hold her up. When Ethan came out of the bedroom, dressed in his expensive suit, looking every inch the successful businessman, Alicia tried to act normal, but she could feel his eyes on her. "You okay?" he asked. "Fine," she lied, "just tired." He kissed her forehead and went to work. As soon as he was gone, Alicia called her best friend, Shonda. Shonda had been her best friend since college. They'd been through everything together. Shonda was the one person Alicia had kept in contact with while she was dating DeAndre. Even though he'd tried to isolate her, Shonda had begged her not to marry Ethan so quickly. And now Alicia needed to tell her what she'd discovered. Shonda arrived at the penthouse within an hour. She was a lawyer, a good one who worked for a firm that defended people against police accusations. She listened to everything Alicia told her, the text messages, the safe, the photographs, the arrest records, the police call. When Alicia was done, Shonda took her hand. "Do you want my honest advice?" Shonda asked. "Yes," Alicia said. "I think your husband is involved in something very serious, and I think the police know it, and I think you're at risk if you stay with him." "What do you mean I'm at risk?" "I mean that if he's involved in organized crime and you know about it, then you become a liability. You become someone he needs to control, or someone he needs to silence." Alicia felt like she couldn't breathe. "You're scaring me," she said. "Good," Shonda said. "You should be scared enough to get out before it's too late." When Alicia went to the police station at 2 o'clock, Detective Harrison was waiting for her. He was an older man with kind eyes and the weary expression of someone who'd seen too much. "Mrs. Calloway," he said, "I need to ask you about your husband's activities. We're building a case against him, and we'd very much like your cooperation." "What kind of case?" Alicia asked, although she already knew. "Drug trafficking, money laundering, assault. We have evidence that he's been running an operation out of his commercial real estate properties. We have witnesses. We just need one more piece of the puzzle, and that piece is you." "What do you want me to do?" Detective Harrison laid it all out. They wanted her to wear a wire. They wanted her to get Ethan to confess to his crimes on tape. They wanted her to help them take him down. Alicia felt like she was drowning. By the time she left the police station, it was 4 o'clock. She had 2 hours before Ethan would be home, 2 hours to figure out what she was going to do. She could cooperate with the police, she could help them, she could get away from him. Or she could protect her mother, because if she testified against Ethan, if she helped put him in prison, she would lose her health insurance. Her mother would lose her medical care. They might lose the penthouse. It was the cruelest choice. Help herself and her mother suffer, or protect her mother and stay married to a criminal. When Ethan came home that evening, he knew something was wrong immediately. "You went to the police," he said. "It wasn't a question." Alicia's heart stopped. "How do you know that?" "Because I have people everywhere, Alicia. I know everything that happens in this city. I knew about the police call before you even got in the car." He walked toward her slowly. His beautiful dark eyes were now terrifying. "And now we have a problem," he said. "What kind of problem?" Alicia asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Ethan sat down on the couch. He didn't look angry, he looked sad. "The kind where the woman I love chooses to betray me," he said. "The kind where I have to make a very difficult decision." "I didn't betray you," Alicia said. "The police called me. I had to." "No, you didn't," Ethan said quietly. "You had a choice, just like you always have a choice. But you chose to go to the police station. You chose to talk to them about me. You chose to put yourself in a position where they could try to turn you into a witness against me." He looked at her with those dark eyes. "Do you know what I've had to do to build what I've built?" he asked. "Do you know what it costs to keep this empire running?" "No," Alicia said, "because you won't tell me anything. You won't trust me with the truth." "I couldn't trust you with the truth," Ethan said, "because you're weak." The word hit her like a physical blow. "What?" "You're weak," he repeated. "You're kind and you're beautiful and you're a good person, but you're weak. You look at someone like DeAndre and you let him walk all over you for 5 years. You let him make you feel small. You let him convince you that you were nothing without him. And then when I came along, you did the exact same thing with me. You gave yourself over completely because you were looking for someone to take care of you, for someone to be strong for you." Alicia felt tears running down her face. "I love you," she said. "I know," Ethan said, "but love isn't enough. Not when the stakes are this high, not when my entire operation is at risk." "What are you going to do?" Alicia asked. Ethan stood up. He walked to the window and looked out at the Dallas skyline. "I'm going to go to the police," he said. "I'm going to confess to some things and deny others. I'm going to hire the best lawyers in Texas. I'm going to make sure that the case against me falls apart. And I'm going to make sure that you can't testify against me because the police will have nothing to prosecute." "How?" Alicia asked. Ethan turned to face her. "That's where your weakness becomes useful," he said. "The police are going to lose their star witness. They're going to realize that you can't help them, and they're going to move on to their next target." "I don't understand." "You're going to tell them that you made a mistake," Ethan said. "You're going to tell them that you were emotional and confused and that you don't actually know anything about my business. You're going to tell them that if you testify, your testimony will be unreliable." "And if I don't?" Ethan's expression didn't change, but something cold moved across his face. "Then I'm going to have to do something I really don't want to do," he said. "I'm going to have to make you disappear, and your mother is going to have to go without her medical care, and the life you've built is going to fall apart." "Are you threatening me?" Alicia whispered. "I'm being honest with you," Ethan said. "For the first time, I'm telling you exactly what your options are." Alicia felt something inside her break. She walked to the bedroom and locked the door. She sat on the bed and cried. She cried for the woman she'd been, tired, desperate, willing to ignore red flags because she wanted someone to love her. She cried for the woman she thought she was becoming, safe, secure, happy. And she cried for the future she thought she was going to have. Because now she understood. She'd never been safe. She just traded one form of slavery for another. With DeAndre, she'd been enslaved by emotional abuse. With Ethan, she was being enslaved by his power and her own desperation to keep her mother alive. There was no way out. Or was there? Alicia thought about all the women she'd helped during her years as a nurse. Women escaping abusive relationships. Women finding shelters. Women rebuilding their lives. She thought she was different from them. She thought she could marry a billionaire and escape her life of struggle. But she wasn't different. She was just like them. And if she could help other women, then maybe she could help herself. She pulled out her phone. She called Shonda. "I need your help," she said. "I need to disappear." Shonda came to the penthouse within an hour. She brought a suitcase. "Here's what we're going to do," she said. "You're going to pack a bag with clothes and important documents. You're not going to pack anything that belongs to him, nothing he's given you, just the things that are actually yours. We're going to leave through the service entrance. We're going to go to a shelter I know about, and then we're going to figure out our next move." "What about my mother?" Alicia asked. "Your mother is coming with us," Shonda said. "I already called her. She's packing too. She's ready to go." Alicia felt a weight lift off her shoulders. Her mother was ready to leave too. She wasn't trapped. She wasn't alone. They left the penthouse at 10 o'clock at night. Ethan was in his office making phone calls. He didn't hear them leave. The women's shelter was called Hope House. It was a simple building in an ordinary part of Dallas. Nothing special about it from the outside, but inside it was filled with warmth and safety. The woman who ran it was named Patricia. She was a black woman in her 50s with gray in her hair and strength in her eyes. She'd been running the shelter for 20 years. She'd helped thousands of women. "You're going to be okay," Patricia told Alicia, even though Alicia didn't know how that could possibly be true. "You're safe here, and you have time to figure out what comes next." The first few days at the shelter were the hardest. Alicia kept expecting Ethan to find her. She kept jumping at every noise. She couldn't sleep more than a few hours at a time. But nothing happened. Ethan didn't come looking for her. He didn't try to find her. He just let her go. It took Alicia a few days to realize why. He'd been done with her the moment she'd gone to the police. She'd served her purpose. She'd helped him establish a respectable cover by being his wife. Now that she was a liability, he simply cut her loose. It was both a relief and devastating. On the fourth day at the shelter, Alicia finally turned on her phone. She had 17 missed calls from Ethan and 43 text messages. She deleted them all without reading them. But there was one call she took. It was from Detective Harrison. "Mrs. Calloway," he said, "we need to talk about your husband's case." "I can't help you," Alicia said. "I'm sorry, but I can't." There was a pause on the other end of the line. "I understand," Detective Harrison said, "but I want you to know something. We have enough evidence to prosecute your husband without your testimony. We had enough before. We were just hoping to build a stronger case." Alicia felt tears run down her face. "Really?" she asked. "Really?" Detective Harrison said. "He's going to prison, and you're going to be free." 2 months later, Ethan Calloway was arrested. He was charged with drug trafficking, money laundering, and assault. His lawyers fought hard, but the evidence was overwhelming. He was sentenced to 15 years in federal prison. And Alicia started rebuilding her life. With Shonda's help, she found a job at a different hospital. It wasn't as easy as her old job. Now she had to work for every dollar again. But it was honest work, and it was hers. She and her mother got a small apartment. It was modest. It was nothing like the penthouse, but it was safe. And more importantly, it was real. 6 months after leaving Ethan, Alicia had finally started to feel like herself again. She was living with her mother in a modest apartment in South Dallas. She'd returned to nursing, working at Parkland Hospital. The job was demanding. The patients were often struggling. The hours were long, but it was real. It was honest work. And at the end of every shift, Alicia knew that she'd made a difference in someone's life. Her mother was thriving. The doctors said her recovery was complete. She'd even started volunteering at the shelter where Alicia and she had stayed. She said it was important to help other women the way they'd been helped. Alicia had also reconnected with friends she'd lost while she was with Ethan. Shonda was still her rock, but she'd also rekindled her friendship with her college roommate, Yolanda, and her childhood best friend, Jerome's sister Tasha. Tasha had a wild sense of humor and a way of making Alicia laugh even on her hardest days. They would meet for lunch on Alicia's days off. They'd talk about everything. About Alicia's past with DeAndre, about her marriage to Ethan, about how Alicia was learning to trust her own judgment again. "You know what you need," Tasha said one Saturday afternoon. They were sitting at a coffee shop near the hospital. "You need to get out more. You need to have fun. You need to remember that there are good things in this world besides work and survival." "I go out," Alicia protested. "To the hospital and to the grocery store," Tasha said. "That's not getting out, that's existing. Come to the mall with me today. We're going to shop. We're going to eat. We're going to remember what it feels like to enjoy life." Alicia didn't really want to go, but Tasha gave her that look that meant she wasn't going to take no for an answer. So they went to Westfield Shopping Center, the largest, most expensive mall in Dallas. The mall was packed with Saturday afternoon shoppers. It was the kind of place where Alicia usually felt out of place. Everyone looked rich. Everyone looked like they belonged in a world that Alicia had left behind. She was in Nordstrom, trying on clothes just because Tasha had insisted that she buy something nice for herself, when she saw him. DeAndre Mitchell, her ex-boyfriend, the man who had spent 5 years making her feel worthless. And he saw her. He was with a friend, a man named Jerome who Alicia had never liked. DeAndre was dressed in expensive clothes. He was wearing a gold chain. He looked successful. He looked like he'd done very well in the 3 years since they'd broken up. "Alicia," he called out, his voice dripping with false surprise. "Is that really you?" Alicia felt her whole body go cold. She wanted to ignore him. She wanted to walk away. But Tasha was right behind her, and she wasn't going to let Alicia run away from this. "Yes, it's me," Alicia said quietly. DeAndre and Jerome walked over. DeAndre had that smirk on his face, that look that said he was about to enjoy tearing someone down. "What are you doing in Nordstrom?" he asked. "This isn't usually your kind of store. Usually you're shopping at Target, right? That's more your speed." Alicia could feel other shoppers starting to look at them. "I'm shopping," she said simply, "same as anyone else." "Shopping?" DeAndre laughed. "Baby, the only way you could afford clothes here is if you were working 2 jobs, but I guess you're not working anymore, are you? I heard you quit your nursing job. Word on the street is you married some rich guy. That didn't work out." Jerome laughed loudly. "Or maybe he figured out that you're not worth keeping around," DeAndre continued. "That was always my problem with you, Alicia. You're a good woman, you work hard, you take care of people, but you're not exciting. You're not sexy. You're not interesting enough to keep someone like me interested." Alicia felt her face flush. She wanted to say something. She wanted to tell him that he was a cheater and a liar and that she was grateful to have him out of her life. But the words stuck in her throat. Tasha, however, had no such problem. "She doesn't need you to be interested in her," Tasha said, stepping forward. "And frankly, she's moved on to better things than a 2-bit hustler who has to put women down to feel good about himself." DeAndre's eyes flashed with anger. "This isn't your business," he said to Tasha. "It became my business when you started disrespecting my friend," Tasha shot back. Other shoppers were definitely watching now. A few people had their phones out. "You know what?" DeAndre said, his voice getting louder. "I feel sorry for you, Alicia. I really do. You're 32 years old and you're still broke. You're still nobody. You always will be. No man is going to want to keep you around forever. I didn't. And apparently that rich guy didn't either." He leaned in closer. "You're going to die alone," he whispered, "and nobody's going to care." Alicia felt like she couldn't breathe. All the progress she'd made, all the healing she'd done, suddenly felt like it was unraveling. And then a shadow fell across all of them. A man appeared, tall, expensive suit, dark eyes that seemed to see everything. He placed his hand gently on Alicia's shoulder. "Excuse me," he said, his voice smooth but with an edge underneath. "I don't believe this woman asked you to speak to her. In fact, I'm quite sure she'd prefer you leave her alone." DeAndre looked at the man like he was trying to figure out who he was. "This isn't your concern," DeAndre said. "Actually, it is," the man said. "This woman is a frequent customer at my establishments, and I have a policy. People who harass my customers are not welcome here." He pulled out his phone and made a single call. "Yes, I need security at Nordstrom on the second floor. There's a man here harassing a customer. Yes, my customer." He hung up. Security arrived within minutes. They walked straight to DeAndre and Jerome. "You two need to come with us," the security guard said. "I didn't do anything," DeAndre protested. "You were harassing this customer," the security guard said. "You need to leave the mall. If you come back, we'll have you arrested for trespassing." Alicia watched as DeAndre and Jerome were escorted away by security. Other shoppers watched them go. A few people applauded quietly. When they were gone, Alicia turned to look at the man who had helped her. He was looking at her with an expression she couldn't quite read. "Are you okay?" he asked. "Yes," Alicia said. "Thank you, he's my ex-boyfriend. He was being difficult." "I could tell," the man said. "I'm Adrian Blackwell." "Alicia," she said, shaking his hand. "Thank you for helping me." "My pleasure," Adrian said. "And please don't let men like that make you feel less than you are. You deserve better." He walked away before Alicia could say anything else. Tasha was staring at her with her mouth open. "Do you know who that is?" Tasha asked. "No," Alicia said. "He said his name is Adrian Blackwell." "Adrian Blackwell," Tasha repeated. "He owns like half of Dallas. He's worth billions. He's one of the most powerful men in the state, and he just helped you." Alicia looked back at the direction Adrian had gone. "That's nice," she said, "but I'm sure he was just being kind." "Girl," Tasha said, "I don't think you understand what just happened. That man could have ignored what was going on, but he didn't. He chose to help you." Alicia tried not to read too much into it. Adrian was a successful man. He probably helped people all the time. It probably didn't mean anything. But that night, she found herself Googling his name. Adrian Blackwell, age 42, born in Dallas, self-made billionaire, owned commercial real estate across Texas and surrounding states, had never been married, had no known romantic partners. There were photos of him at charity events, at business meetings, always impeccably dressed, always surrounded by powerful people. He was beautiful in the way that successful men sometimes are. Not beautiful in a soft way, but in a hard way. Like someone who'd built himself from nothing and made himself into something powerful. The photos also revealed something else. In many of them, Adrian looked sad. Not obviously sad, but there was something in his eyes. Something that suggested he carried a weight that other people didn't see. Alicia closed her laptop and told herself to stop thinking about Adrian Blackwell. He was a successful businessman. She was a nurse. Their worlds were completely different. The fact that he'd helped her was nothing more than a momentary kindness. She would probably never see him again. But the universe has a funny way of proving you wrong. 3 weeks later, Alicia was working the night shift at the hospital. It was a Tuesday night, and the emergency room was busy. There had been a car accident on I-635, and several victims had been brought in. One of them was Adrian Blackwell. He was conscious but in pain. He had a broken arm and several lacerations. A piece of glass had embedded itself in his shoulder, but compared to some of the other accident victims, he was relatively lucky. Alicia recognized him immediately, and from the way his eyes widened slightly when he saw her, she could tell that he recognized her too. "Of all the emergency rooms in Dallas," Adrian said with a slight smile, "I end up in yours." "Looks like it," Alicia said, keeping her voice professional. She began assessing his injuries. "Can you tell me what happened?" Drunk driver, Adrian said. Came out of nowhere, I'm fine, just banged up a bit. You have a broken arm, multiple lacerations, and a piece of glass embedded in your shoulder, Alicia said. I wouldn't call that banged up a bit. Adrian smiled. Okay, fine, I'm more hurt than I want to admit. Alicia worked on cleaning and bandaging his injuries. As she worked, Adrian talked. He told her about his day, about a business deal that had fallen through, about a building he was trying to buy in downtown Dallas, about how he'd been stressed and distracted when the accident happened. Maybe it's the universe telling me to slow down, he said. Maybe it's time for me to focus on something other than work. When she was done treating him, Alicia stepped back. The doctors will want to do an X-ray on your arm, she said, and you'll need stitches for some of these cuts, but you're going to be fine. Thank you, Adrian said, for taking care of me and for helping me at the mall. You remember that? Alicia asked, surprised. Of course I remember, Adrian said. You were being disrespected by someone who didn't deserve to be in the same room as you. I was glad I could help. Alicia didn't know how to respond to that. Adrian reached out and gently grabbed her wrist. Can I ask you something? He said. Sure, Alicia said. Why do you let people treat you that way? I mean, I only met you for a moment at the mall, but I could tell that you're smart. You're capable. You're worth so much more than the way people seem to treat you. I don't know, Alicia admitted. I guess I've always believed that I should be grateful for whatever I get, that I shouldn't expect too much, that I should just accept what people give me and not ask for more. That's wrong, Adrian said. You should expect everything. You should ask for the world. You should settle for nothing less than someone who sees you and appreciates you and makes you feel like the most important person in his life. Alicia felt her cheeks flush. Is that what you do? She asked. Adrian smiled sadly. No, he said. That's not what I do. I work, I build things, I make money. I surround myself with people I can trust and I isolate myself from people who might hurt me. It's kept me safe, but it's also kept me alone. He released her wrist. Don't end up like me, he said. Don't spend so much time protecting yourself that you forget how to let people in. A doctor came to take Adrian for X-rays, and Alicia didn't see him again that night. But his words stayed with her. She thought about them during the rest of her shift. She thought about them during her drive home. She thought about them while she was trying to sleep. Adrian was right. She had spent years letting people treat her badly. First, her mother had raised her to be a caretaker, to put everyone else's needs before her own. Then DeAndre had used that tendency against her. Then Ethan had exploited it. And somewhere along the way, she'd forgotten that she deserved better. When Adrian was discharged from the hospital the next morning, he asked for Alicia. She was ending her shift when he called for her. He was standing in the lobby, his arm in a sling, looking tired but determined. Can I take you to breakfast? He asked. I owe you for taking care of me last night. You don't owe me anything, Alicia said. That's my job. I know, Adrian said, but I'd like to, as a thank you, just breakfast, no strings attached. Alicia should have said no. She should have kept her distance. But she was tired of running from good things because she was afraid they wouldn't last. Okay, she said, but I need to go home and change first. They went to a breakfast place not far from the hospital. It was a modest place, nothing fancy. Adrian seemed to prefer that. He ordered pancakes and coffee. Alicia ordered eggs and toast. They sat in a corner booth and talked. Adrian told her about his childhood, about how his parents had been poor, about how his father had worked in construction and his mother had worked as a housekeeper, about how he'd put himself through college and built his real estate empire from nothing. I wanted to show them that their sacrifice mattered, Adrian said, that if I could just be successful enough, I could make sure they never had to struggle again. Did you? Alicia asked. Adrian's expression grew sad. They died before I made my first million, he said. My father had a heart attack. My mother followed him 6 months later. The doctors said it was complications from diabetes, but I think she died of grief. And I think my whole life, I've been trying to prove to them that I could do it, even though they were already gone. Alicia reached across the table and squeezed his hand. "I'm sorry," she said. "Don't be," Adrian said. "I've learned to accept that you don't always get the people you love as long as you want them, but you have to try anyway. You have to try to build something good. You have to try to be better than you were yesterday." He looked at her intently. "Why did you marry that man?" Adrian asked. "The one the police were investigating. I heard about that. My security team briefed me. I wanted to understand why someone like you would end up with someone like him." "How do you know about that?" Alicia asked, feeling exposed. "I have people," Adrian said. "When I helped you at the mall, I had my team look into you. I wanted to know who you were, whether you were in trouble, whether you needed help." "You had me investigated?" Alicia asked, a mix of angry and flattered. "I did," Adrian said, "and I found out that you just escaped a very dangerous situation, and I wanted to help. But I didn't want to push you. I figured if the universe wanted us to meet again, we would. And then I ended up treating you in the emergency room," Alicia said. "Exactly," Adrian said, "so here we are." He put down his coffee cup and looked at her seriously. "I know we just met," he said, "and I know that you've been through a lot, and I know that the smart thing would be for you to run far away from a man like me, but I'm going to ask you something anyway. Will you let me take you to dinner, a real dinner, not breakfast, not a thank you, a real date?" Alicia wanted to say no. She wanted to protect herself. She'd already made too many mistakes with men. She'd already trusted the wrong people. But she was also tired of playing it safe. She was tired of being afraid. "Okay," she said. "Yes, I'll go to dinner with you." Adrian took her to a restaurant called Sanctuary. It was at the top of a tall building in downtown Dallas. The whole city spread out below them. The food was incredible. The service was impeccable, and Adrian was the perfect gentleman. He didn't push her for anything. He didn't try to impress her with his money or his power. He just asked her about her life, about her dreams, about what made her happy. And Alicia found herself telling him things she'd never told anyone. She told him about her fear, about the way she'd spent her whole life waiting for something bad to happen, about how she'd learned to settle for less than she deserved because she didn't believe she deserved anything good. And Adrian listened. He didn't judge her. He didn't try to fix her. He just listened and understood. "You know what I think?" Adrian said as they looked out at the Dallas skyline. "I think you spent so long being invisible that you forgot how to be seen. And I think once you realize how beautiful you are, how capable you are, how worthy you are of love and respect, you're going to wonder how you ever accepted anything less." "How do you know all of this?" Alicia asked. "Because I've spent my whole life as the opposite," Adrian said. "I've spent it being very visible, being very powerful, and I've been alone. And I think what I want now is to find someone I can be vulnerable with, someone I can let see who I really am beneath all of the success." He reached across the table and took her hand. "I think I'd like that someone to be you," he said. Alicia felt her heart racing. "I don't know if I can do that," she said honestly. "I'm scared. I'm scared of making the same mistakes. I'm scared of trusting someone and having them hurt me." "I know," Adrian said, "but I'm going to ask you to trust me anyway, not because I'm perfect, but because I promise to be honest with you. I promise to tell you the truth. I promise to never intentionally hurt you." Over the next few months, Adrian and Alicia saw each other constantly. He would pick her up from work. They would go to dinner. They would walk around Dallas at night. They would talk until sunrise. Adrian was nothing like Ethan. He didn't try to control her. He didn't make decisions for her. He supported her career. He encouraged her to spend time with her friends. He paid for her mother's continued medical care without making it a transaction. He was patient, he was kind, he was honest. And Alicia fell in love with him. She should have been happy. She should have felt like the luckiest woman in the world. But there was something that bothered her, something that she couldn't quite put her finger on. It was the way Adrian's employees acted around him. Not respectful, afraid. There was something in his tone when he gave instructions that suggested he didn't accept disobedience. It was the way certain people would approach him with envelopes of cash. It was the way he would have late-night phone calls where he spoke in a language she didn't recognize. It was the way, sometimes, she would see him looking at her when he thought she wasn't watching, and his expression would be calculating. It was the way he knew things about people that he shouldn't know. It was the way he had people watching her without her knowing. Alicia realized, 6 months into their relationship, that she might have made a terrible mistake. Adrian was a powerful man, too powerful, the kind of powerful that came from more than just real estate. And she'd fallen in love with him. One night she couldn't take it anymore. She asked him directly. "What do you really do?" she asked. They were in his penthouse, looking out at the Dallas skyline. Adrian took a long time answering. "I do a lot of things," he said finally. "I invest in real estate. I have investments in various businesses. Some of those businesses are more legitimate than others." "What does that mean?" "It means that to get as rich as I am, you have to be willing to do things that aren't always legal," Adrian said. "It means that you have to have leverage on people. It means that sometimes you have to move money in ways that the government doesn't know about. It means that you have to be willing to get your hands dirty." Alicia felt her heart sink. "You're like Ethan," she said. "No," Adrian said firmly. "I'm nothing like Ethan. Ethan is a drug dealer who uses violence to control people. I'm a businessman who uses information and leverage. I've never hurt anyone who didn't deserve to be hurt, and I would never hurt you." "How do you know you wouldn't?" "Because I love you," Adrian said, "and I don't hurt the people I love." But Alicia had heard words like that before. She'd heard them from DeAndre. She'd heard them from Ethan. And both times the love had been conditional. Both times, the moment she'd become inconvenient, the love had disappeared. 6 months into her relationship with Adrian, Alicia was standing in Nordstrom at Westfield Shopping Center again. It was a Saturday afternoon. The mall was packed. She was looking at a dress, a beautiful dress in emerald green that cost $250. She had the money now. Adrian had insisted on giving her access to accounts. She could buy anything she wanted, but she still couldn't shake the feeling of guilt when she spent money. It was like she didn't deserve nice things, like at any moment it could all be taken away. "Alicia." She turned around. It was DeAndre, and he was alone this time. No Jerome, just him. He looked different. His expensive clothes were wrinkled. His gold chain was gone. His face looked worn. He didn't look successful anymore. He looked like someone who'd been through something. "Hi, DeAndre," Alicia said carefully. "I heard what happened," DeAndre said. "I heard you married a billionaire. I heard you left him. And now I heard you're dating someone even more powerful than him." "How do you know all of that?" Alicia asked. "Everybody knows everybody's business in Dallas," DeAndre said. "News travels fast." He looked at her intently. "I wanted to apologize," he said, "for the way I treated you, for the things I said to you the last time I saw you. I was wrong. I was bitter because my business wasn't going well and I took it out on you." Alicia wasn't sure what to say. She'd never thought she would hear DeAndre apologize. "It's okay," she said finally. "No, it's not," DeAndre said. "I made you feel small. I made you feel like you weren't good enough. And I can see now that it was because I was jealous. You were always going to be better than me. You were always going to have more success, more love, more everything than I was. And I couldn't handle that. So I tried to make you feel bad about yourself so you wouldn't leave me." "Why are you telling me this?" Alicia asked. "Because I wanted you to know that you were right to leave me," DeAndre said. "And I wanted you to know that I'm sorry. And I wanted to warn you." "Warn me about what?" DeAndre looked over his shoulder, as if to make sure no one was listening. "Adrian Blackwell is not a good man," he said quietly. "I don't know what he told you about what he does, but it's worse than you think. He's connected to organized crime, not directly, but through enough people that everyone knows he's not someone to cross. How do you know all of this? Alicia asked. Because I got caught up in something, DeAndre said. I borrowed money from people I shouldn't have borrowed from, and they threatened to kill me. And then, somehow, the threat went away, and I found out it was because Adrian Blackwell had made a phone call. He grabbed her arm. He's dangerous, Alicia. And if you know too much about his business, if you become a liability, he will eliminate that liability. I've seen what he's capable of. He wouldn't hurt me, Alicia said. He loves me. That's what you said about Ethan, DeAndre said. And you were lucky to escape that. Don't make the same mistake twice. He let go of her arm and walked away. Alicia stood in the middle of Nordstrom, the emerald dress still in her hands, feeling like the ground was shifting beneath her feet. That night she asked Adrian directly, "Are you involved in organized crime?" Adrian was quiet for a long moment. "Who told you that?" he asked. "Someone I ran into at the mall." DeAndre Mitchell, Adrian said. "It wasn't a question. My people have been monitoring him. We know he's been talking about me, spreading rumors." "Is it true?" Alicia asked. Adrian sighed. "It's complicated," he said. "I do business with people who are connected to organized crime, but I'm not involved in illegal activities myself. My real estate investments are completely legitimate. But yes, I know powerful people. Yes, I have connections. Yes, sometimes I use those connections to help people or to solve problems." "Like what kind of problems?" Alicia asked. "Like ensuring that a man who was threatening to kill an innocent person stopped making that threat," Adrian said. "DeAndre owed money to the wrong people, so I paid his debt. I told the people he owed that he was under my protection now, and they left him alone." "Without his knowledge?" Alicia asked. "Without his knowledge," Adrian confirmed. "But the point is I took care of it, and he was safe. And that's what I do, Alicia. I take care of problems. I take care of people I care about." "But what if I become a problem?" Alicia asked, the question she'd been afraid to ask finally coming out. "What if I know too much? What if I want to leave? What if I want to go to the police?" Adrian's expression changed. For just a moment, she saw something dangerous in his eyes. "You won't," he said. "How do you know?" "Because I know you," Adrian said. "You're not going to betray me. You're not going to destroy what we have. You love me." "Love isn't enough," Alicia said. "I've learned that the hard way. Love without trust isn't real love." "Then trust me," Adrian said. "Trust that I'm not going to hurt you. Trust that I'm building something legitimate. Trust that in a few years I'll be completely out of the gray area and into the legitimate business world." "And if I can't trust you?" Adrian stood up. He walked to the window. He looked out at the Dallas skyline. "Then I suppose we have a problem," he said quietly. "What kind of problem?" "The kind where I can't let you go," Adrian said. "The kind where you know too much and you're too connected to me. The kind where you've become a liability." Alicia's blood turned to ice. "Are you threatening me?" she asked. "I'm telling you the truth," Adrian said. "I love you. But if I have to choose between you and my empire, between you and my freedom, I will choose myself. Every time. That's not a threat. That's a fact." Alicia felt like she couldn't breathe. She'd done it again. She'd ended up with another man who was willing to destroy her if she became inconvenient. She'd made the same mistake twice. And this time, she wasn't sure how she was going to escape. Alicia didn't go to the police. Not immediately. She knew that if she did, Adrian would find out. And she knew that Adrian would do whatever he had to do to ensure that she couldn't testify against him. Instead, she did something smarter. She called Shonda. Shonda was waiting for her when she arrived at a safe location, a law office in the downtown area. Shonda took one look at Alicia's face and pulled her into a hug. "Tell me everything," Shonda said. Alicia told her about Adrian, about what she'd learned, about the veiled threat he'd made, about the fear she was living in. Shonda listened. She didn't interrupt, she didn't judge, she just listened. When Alicia was done, Shonda said, "We need to get you away from him, and we need to do it in a way that he can't predict or control." "I'm scared," Alicia admitted. "If I try to leave, he might hurt my mother. He might hurt my friends. He has the ability to do those things." "I know," Shonda said, "which is why we're going to protect them first. Then we're going to get you out." Over the next week, Shonda worked her magic. She got Alicia's mother relocated to a safe house run by Hope House. Tasha was warned and told to be careful. Her coworkers at the hospital were advised to report any suspicious people asking about her. And Alicia continued to live in Adrian's penthouse, pretending that everything was fine. She would wake up next to him. She would kiss him goodbye. She would smile and tell him she loved him. And all the while she was planning her escape. It was exhausting, it was terrifying, but it was the only way. On the appointed day, Alicia told Adrian that she was going to the mall. She said she wanted to buy a new outfit. She said she'd be back for dinner. Adrian kissed her goodbye. "I love you," he said. "I know," Alicia said, and then she left. She didn't go to the mall. She went directly to Shonda's office. Shonda had prepared everything: false documents, a new identity, money in an account that Adrian's people wouldn't be able to trace, a plane ticket to Portland, Oregon, where Alicia would stay with a friend of Shonda's until things settled down. "This is happening," Shonda said. "Right now, are you sure?" "I'm sure," Alicia said. And then her phone rang. It was Adrian. "Where are you?" he asked. His voice was cold. "At the mall," Alicia lied. "Shopping, why?" "My security says you went to a law office," Adrian said. "They say you met with a lawyer named Shonda Williams. They say you've been planning something." Alicia's heart stopped. "Adrian, I can explain," she started. "No," he said. "You can't. You're leaving me. You're planning to betray me. You're planning to destroy everything I've built." "I'm trying to save myself," Alicia said, "and I'm trying to protect the people I love." There was a long silence on the other end of the line. "Go to the police," Adrian said finally. "Tell them everything you know. Testify against me, destroy me if you can. But know this, I will spend every moment I'm free and every moment I'm in prison making sure you regret the day you crossed me. I will ruin you. I will ruin your mother. I will ruin your friends. And then I will find you." The line went dead. Shonda and Alicia looked at each other. "We need to go," Shonda said. "Now." They ran. Alicia didn't pack anything. She didn't go home. She got in Shonda's car and they drove straight to the airport. Behind them, Adrian was making phone calls. He was setting things in motion. He was ordering his people to find her, to track her, to do whatever it took to ensure that she couldn't testify against him. But Alicia was gone. By the time Adrian's people figured out where she'd gone, she was already on a plane to Portland. 3 months later, Adrian Blackwell was arrested. The federal government had been building a case against him for years. They had evidence of money laundering, illegal weapon sales, and connections to organized crime. But they'd been waiting for the right moment to move. That moment came when Alicia went to the FBI. She told them everything. Everything Adrian had told her, everything she'd seen, everything she'd learned about his business. Adrian's lawyers fought hard. They argued that Alicia's testimony was tainted because she was a woman scorned. They argued that she had no direct evidence of any crimes. But Alicia's testimony, combined with years of federal investigation, was enough. Adrian was convicted on 5 counts. He was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. And Alicia finally truly was free. 6 months later, Alicia was living in Portland, Oregon. She'd found a job at a hospital. She'd found a modest apartment. She decorated it simply with just the things she actually loved. She talked to her mother every day. Her mother was in Dallas, working at Hope House, helping other women escape dangerous situations. She talked to Shonda and Tasha regularly. They were her lifeline to her old life, the one thing that kept her grounded. And she was healing. She'd spent enough time with therapists to understand why she'd accepted the unacceptable for so long. She'd learned that it wasn't her fault, that she deserved better, that love without respect and trust wasn't real love. She'd learned that she was strong, that she could survive anything, that she didn't need a man to take care of her, that she could take care of herself. One day, while she was shopping at a local coffee shop, a place much like the one where she'd met Ethan what felt like a lifetime ago, a man approached her. He was not particularly handsome. He was not particularly rich. He was just an ordinary man in an ordinary shirt and jeans. He ordered a coffee and sat at the table next to hers. They didn't talk, they just existed near each other. But the next day he was there again, and the day after that. Finally, on the 5th day, he turned to her. "Hi," he said simply, "I'm James." "Alicia," she said. "I've seen you here every day this week," James said, "and I've wanted to talk to you, but I didn't know if you'd think I was creepy." Alicia laughed. "Would you have said hi if I wasn't alone?" she asked. "Probably not," James admitted. "I'm not very confident. I work as a software engineer. I spend most of my time with computers, not people, so talking to attractive women is not my strong suit." Something about his honesty was refreshing. "Do you want to get coffee sometime?" James asked. "Not here, I mean we could, but I was thinking maybe a different place. A place that's less weird than both of us coming here separately." Alicia hesitated for only a moment. "Okay," she said, "yes, I'd like that." When she got home that evening, she called her mother. "I have something to tell you," Alicia said. "I'm thinking about dating someone." "What?" her mother said, surprised. "When? Where?" "I met him at a coffee shop," Alicia said. "His name is James. He's nice. He's normal. He's not trying to save me from anything or control my life. He just wants to get to know me." "How does that feel?" her mother asked. "Terrifying," Alicia admitted. "And exciting, and like maybe, just maybe, I'm finally learning how to have a real relationship with someone." 2 years later, Alicia was married to James. They had a small ceremony with just family and close friends. No penthouse, no billionaire, no secrets. Just two people who loved each other and wanted to build a life together. Alicia was still working as a nurse. She loved her job. She loved helping people. She loved the ordinary, daily grind of making a difference in people's lives. Her mother was thriving. She'd become the director of Hope House, helping countless women escape dangerous situations. Shonda was still her best friend and her lawyer, helping her navigate the legal system as Adrian continued to appeal his conviction. And Alicia had finally, truly found peace. She'd learned several important lessons in her journey. The first was that love without respect and trust is not love. It's a transaction. It's a lie you tell yourself so you don't have to face the reality of your situation. The second was that the most powerful thing you can do is know your own worth. The moment Alicia understood that she deserved better, she became able to recognize the red flags. She became able to walk away. She became able to save herself. The third was that it's okay to ask for help. Alicia could never have escaped Adrian without Shonda. She could never have healed without her mother and her friends. We're not meant to do life alone. And the fourth was that healing is not linear. It's okay to take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to be afraid. What matters is that you keep going. What matters is that you refuse to accept less than you deserve. Alicia's story is not unique. There are thousands of women just like her. Women who have left abusive relationships. Women who have fought for their freedom. Women who have rebuilt their lives from nothing. But her story is important because it reminds us of something crucial. No matter what you've survived, no matter how many times you've fallen, no matter how broken you feel, you can build something good. You can have a life worth living. You can find happiness. You just have to believe that you're worth the effort. And you have to be willing to fight for yourself. Thank you for watching.